Great. Well, you know what, thank you for allowing me to come up here again, although I guess I'm thanking a $5 bill. But I really want to thank Henry for the t-shirts. What a great idea, selling t-shirts just before the show. How could I say no? I should be wearing it right now, but actually it's holding up the camera because I didn't bring a good tripod. So again, thank you for the t-shirt. It's doing triple duty right now. So my name is Greg Van Antwerp. If you don't remember me from the past 2 Thursday nights, why weren't you here? What I want to share with you tonight is part of what is really my passion, which is hunting for hidden history. This story I'm going to share with you right now, oh my God, someone just popped out the back of that. How did that happen? God, I'm fumbling with things here. That's all right. Well, this one starts back in 1600 Paris, and it really just started because I just visited a sale that I saw in the paper. This is over 10 years ago, and as I got to the house, they were actually walking things out of the house and tossing them into a dumpster. I think I was getting there at the end of the sale. And the person running the sale was just doing a clear out, a bank clear out, and trying to sell everything so you don't have to throw it away. And as I walked up to the door, he hands me 2 picture frames. And and he said, "Do you want these?" And I didn't know him. I just said, "Oh, okay." And I took the picture frames and I walked them to my car, and then I went looking around for more hidden history. And when I got home, these were sitting in my garage, and before my wife said, "Oh no, something else in the garage?" I said, "All right, well, I better just kind of clean them up and take a look at them." And so this was one of them. And behind this one, I took out the glass. And you've heard that story before, someone gets an old picture, they take off the glass and there's something hiding behind it. Well, that guy was somebody wanted. Get out of there. Actually, it was an image that was unfamiliar to me at the time. It's the unfinished portrait of FDR. And it wasn't the original, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I'd be in my Beverly Hills mansion. But it was fascinating to me that this was behind this image, and I took a look at it, and I was fascinated by it because I saw there's writing at the bottom. I took a look at it, and it says reproduced from the original portrait, which was painted at Warm Springs, Georgia, 1945, and then it's signed again, not an original, but it's actually sold by Gimbel Brothers in New York City. So it was sold out of, I guess, Gimbel's department store. But the artist, Elizabeth Shumatov, has signed it here, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let me look her up. And then it led me down this wonderful, this wonderful rabbit hole. It starts with a young Roosevelt. He's, a real gregarious guy, and you'll find out why that matters to the story in a second. Of course, marries his, first cousin? This story gets dirty, so get ready. He marries his first cousin, Eleanor. I'm pretty sure it was arranged by his mother. FDR had a very strong mom. Let's hold it for strong moms. And they got married in 1905. They have 5 kids. Hey, Miss Mercer, not yet. Too soon. Get out of there. But anyway, that's all right. They have a happy marriage. They have 5 kids, but and then Eleanor has the social secretary, Lucy Mercer. She's from a well-known family in the city, New York City, that is, of course. That Roosevelt becomes governor of New York at one point, and actually Secretary of the Navy in World War I. And but on sort of a junket to check out how things were going, Secretary of the Navy, he comes back from this trip to Europe, very tired, very exhausted, and very sick. And so I guess Eleanor is kind of going through his things and finds these letters between Lucy Mercer and Franklin Roosevelt. And of course they're love letters, and she's furious. I mean, she finds these things, and she is, I don't want to block the screen for anybody, she finds these things and she's furious. How furious is she? She's this furious. She wants a divorce. She wants a divorce. She doesn't want to be married to him anymore. She's angry. And of course, between either Franklin and probably his mother too, I don't know if she's still around at this point, basically he says, it'll ruin my political career if I get a divorce. I can't get a divorce. And so they sort of agree to be married apart. And he promises never to see Lucy Mercer again. Ha, ha, ha. And but Lucy Mercer, for some reason, goodbye. So long, Eleanor. Lucy Mercer does take off, but finally she shows back up, and I think as a secretary at the Department of the Navy, quote unquote under Franklin Roosevelt. And actually he has a place for her actually at his subsequent inaugurations, but she does something really kind of interesting. She really does love him. They do really have a good relationship. This is Lucy Mercer, a little bit older in life, and she says, Franklin, no one's ever done your portrait. And she goes, I know someone who can do it. And her name is Madame Shumatov. Madame Shumatov, Lucy probably knows her because of the wealthy family she's a part of. I think her last name is Rutherford, because I think she was married at one point. And she knew Madame Shumatov from doing these portraits. And Madame Shumatov says, "Oh no, I hate his politics. Can't stand his politics." But she arranges a meeting, and if you go back to that early picture of a much younger Roosevelt, she gets to know him, and he's so gregarious, and and basically she kind of falls for him and says, "Yes, I'll do this. I'll do his portrait." And so she arranges to go back to that picture. She arranges to go down there, and actually the night before, I think her photographer takes this picture that she can actually use. But you can see at this point he really is beaten the hell out of for what he's been doing, getting us through World War II. And it's sorry, let's go back to back. And so she sits down with her paints and everything and begins painting. And within half an hour, he says, "Oh, I have a terrible headache." And boom, within half an hour, he's dead. She's one of the last people to see him alive. Lucy is there, and she has to take off because Eleanor's coming down to take care of the funeral arrangements. And it's just an amazing kind of thing that sort of happens. And why is this portrait unfinished? Well, it doesn't affect her. She goes on to do other portraits, but what's fascinating is that she's asked this question of, why didn't you finish it? And she says, this woman who didn't really like Roosevelt at first says, well, I've destroyed the paints, I've destroyed the brushes. This painting will never be finished because his presidency was never finished. Yeah. And it's kind of a nice honorarium to Roosevelt and by an amazing lady who I did not know. This is why I call my talk Unsung Women of American History. Nobody knows, very few people know who Madame Elizabeth Shumatov was. But I've got one more quick story. Funny enough, I love finding other people's mail. I'm such a snoop. But this one was to Alfonso Ruggiero, 24 Wall Street. It just says city. I mean, boy, how far back are we? But it's actually city in Waterbury. And it says, and it's a letter written to Mr. Ruggiero, and it says, "Please have no more parties like you had at home on Wall Street." This is in Waterbury, not New York. On Wall Street Sunday night. If you do, the police will be called. And it's signed, "The People of Wall Street." What the hell? I mean, who was the guy that drew the short straw to have to deliver the letter? And I just love that kind of idea of the entire people of Wall Street. I mean, there might have been a Styx, it was a long time ago, but I just get a huge kick out of that. I love finding these little bits of personal history that just speak volumes, but must have been a fun party. Anyway, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
So don't throw anything away. Good Lord, it could be a good letter.